10 o'clock. Let's get started. गणानान्त्वा गणपतिगुं हवामहे कविं कवीनामुपमश्रवस्तमम् ज्येष्ठराजं ब्रह्मणां ब्रह्मणस्पतान शृण्वन्नोतिभिः सीदसादनम् प्रणो देवी सरस्वती वाजेभिर्वाजिनीवती धीनामविद्यवत् ॐ गणेशाय नमः ॐ सरस्वत्यै नमः ॐ श्रीगुरुभ्यो नमः शुक्लाम्बरधरं विष्णुं शशिवर्णं चतुर्भुजं प्रसन्नवदनं ध्यायेत् सर्वविघ्नोपशान्तये वागीशाद्या सुमनसः सर्वार्थानामुपक्रमे यज्ञत्वा कृतकृत्या स्युः तं नमामि गजाननं वक्रतुण्डमहाकाय कोटिसूर्यसमप्रभ निर्विघ्नं कुरु मे. Hari Om everybody. I hope you had a good Thanksgiving break. Welcome back to our weekly Vedanta classes on Upadesha Saara by Bhagavan Ramana Maharshi. We have covered 12 shlokas so far. Let us chant the shlokas first. I will summarize the meaning on the other side. Karturagnaya prapyate palam karma kim param karma tajjadam krutimaho dadau patana karanam palamashashvatam gati nirodakam ईश्वरार्पितं नेच्छया कृतं चित्तशोधकं मुक्तिसाधकं कायवाङ्मन कार्यमुत्तमं पूजनं जप चिन्तनं क्रमात् जगत ईषधी युक्तसेवनम् अष्टमूर्तिभृत् देवपूजनम् उत्तमस्तवाद् उच्चमन्दतः चित्तजं जप ध्यानमुत्तमम् आज्यधारया स्रोतसा समं सरलचिन्तनं विरलतः परम् वेदभावनात् सोऽहमित्यसौ भावनाभिधा पावनीमता भावशून्यसत् भावसुस्थितिः भावनाबलात् भक्तिरुत्तम हृत्स्थले मन स्वस्थता क्रिया भक्तियोगबोधाश्च निश्चितम् वायुरोदनात् लीयते मनः जालपक्षिवत् रोधसाधनम् चित्तवायवश्चित्क्रियायुताः शाकयोर्द्वयी शक्तिमूलक शाकयोर्द्वयी Shakti Mulaka. I'll quickly recap since we had a couple of weeks of break. In the first three shlokas, Bhagavan Ramana Maharshi gave us the secret as to how to turn karma to karma yoga. It was a simple 3-point plan of arpita buddhi, meaning all kartavya karmas must be done dedicated to that Lord, arpita buddhi. Then dasya buddhi, performance of all actions as worship of the Lord. And all karma pala, whatever may be the results, as his prasada buddhi. Karma done this way will give us what? Chitta shuddhi, purity of mind. Then he started us on the bhakti sadhanas, pujanam japa, chintanam kramat. Pujanam at the body level, on the form of the Lord. Jagata ishadi yukta sevanam ashtamurti brit deva pujanam. He suggested the eightfold form. Ishadi yuktam. Jana seva is Janardana seva. The self in me is self everywhere. In that we also discussed details on the Murti Puja. Then we went through the process of Japa Sadhana. It's a function of the speech on the name of the Lord, Namasmaranam. And the main purpose of Japa Sadhana is to develop concentration of the mind, single-pointed focus of the mind. We saw 4 types of Japa. The first one was the Stuti or the Prarthana, Ucha Japa, loud chanting, Para Shruti Gochara, meaning people next to me can hear what I am chanting. Then we saw Manda Japa, Swa Shruti Gochara, only I am able to hear what I am chanting. Then finally Chittajam Japa, Manasa Japa. Each level he indicated was subtler than the other. The subtler it became, the more difficult, or it needs greater levels of concentration and focus. Now this 4th level, Manasa Japa, we saw that will slowly lead us to meditation. Dhyanam, Dhyanamuttamam. Then Bhagavan Ramana Maharshi gave us 2 types of contemplation. Interrupted, uninterrupted types of contemplation. Ajyadaraya srotasasamam sarala chintanam viralatah param. He said uninterrupted contemplation is param, to that of viralataha, broken and interrupted contemplation. And he gave us 2 examples. Ajya dharaya srotasa samam, like a stream of melted ghee as we pour into the yajna kunda, how there is continuity, how there is unbrokenness, how there is uninterrupted flow. And he also gave us srotasa samam, like the flow of the water in the river, how effortless, overcoming all the obstructions. Then we saw that dhyana or the contemplation has 3 factors. The meditator, dhyayi, the meditated, the object of meditation, dhyeya, and the process of meditation called dhyana. We examine the process of dhyana, sajatiya vritti pravaha, a continuous flow of thought directed towards that object of contemplation. Basically, we flood the mind with one similar thought on the object of contemplation. Sri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram. Then we went through the definition of the nididhyasana, a call to the mind to contemplate upon the higher. What Bhagavan Ramana Maharshi pointed out here was the meditation on the attributeless, formless Brahman, Nirguna Nirakara Dhyana, is superior form of meditation than on the form and the qualities of the Lord, or Saguna Sakara Dhyana. So far, are we clear? So any sadhana we do, in the beginning, it takes a lot of effort. Then gradually it becomes effortless. So verses 1 to 3 talked about karma yoga or path of action. Then verse 4 onwards, we went through bhakti sadhanas, the nature of devotion. And then in around verse 9, abidance in his own nature of the devotee was pointed out. So this is called Hritsthale Manaha, the abidance of the mind in the spiritual heart. After elaborating karma marga, bhakti marga, then Bhagavan gave us Ashtanga Yoga. So in the last class, before the break, we saw that Patanjali Maharshi is the proponent of Ashtanga Yoga. Ashta Anga, the 8 limbs, are Yama, Niyama, Asana, Pranayama, Pratyahara, Dharana, Dhyana, leading us to Samadhi, which is called total cessation of all thoughts. Chitta Vritti Nirodha. Then we saw that there are 2 types, Savikalpa Samadhi, Nirvikalpa Samadhi. Asana, Pranayama are very popular forms of yoga abhyasa. We should always remember they are always the means to the goal, means to the end. Bhagavan Ramana Maharshi explained the usage of pranayama as a technique to control the mind. Rodhanat liyate manaha. Restraining the pranavayu. He suggested we can control the mind. How? Jalapakshivat. Like a bird caught in the net. That is Rodha Sadhanam. You can control this way mind for some time. We saw the technique of pranayama or breathing activity, which has 3 aspects. Breathing in, inhalation, puraka, then kumbhaka, you hold that breath, and then rechaka, exhalation. Bhagavan advised a technique called prana vikshana, observation of breath by remaining a witness to the incoming and outgoing. Incoming, outgoing. So by this method, mind gets an occupation, and as we already know, pranas have no color, no form, hence there is no chance for mind to get distracted. So in this method of prana vikshana, observation of breath, we observe the inhalation, exhalation without analyzing. without judging, to keep the mind occupied with no associated thoughts, to get it to quieten for some time. Okay, that is where we had left off before the break. Now, moving on to shloka number 13. Laya vinashane ubhaya rodhane, Laya vinashane ubhaya rodhane, Laya gatam punar bhavati nomrutam, Laya gatam punar bhavati nomrutam. One more time. Laya vinashane ubhaya rodhane, Laya gatam punar bhavati nomrutam. Laya vinashane ubhaya rodhane bhavataha, Laya gatam manaha punaha bhavati, mrutam manaha punaha no bhavati. So the restraint of the mind, achieved through the restraining of the pranas, it is temporary. See, there are two states of mind. One is called laya, the other one is vinasha. Laya, we can call it dissolution, absorption, quietened, restrained, temporarily suspended. All that, but let's call it absorption. And number two is vinasha, is destruction. Laya vinashane ubhaya rodhane. Manolayam means quietened mind, temporarily suspended, etc. We experience this every night in our sleep when we are conscious. So what Bhagavan Ramana Maharshi is saying here is, when we restrain the mind through the pranas, we reach a state of laya, that quieten the mind. When we control the mind through the mind, it leads to the destruction of the mind. Let's see the difference here. Layam gatam manaha punarbhavati. The mind comes back from laya. No mrutam. Same English meaning of no. No mrutam. Not the dead mind. Mrutam manaha na bhavati. What dead mind? Somebody might get scared. What is this exercise? I will lose my mind. I will not have any memory. How am I going to gain knowledge in this world? How will I do my transactions in this world? Will I remember my bank accounts? Locker code? Such a state of mind is obviously not desirable. So let's see what it means by the phrase destruction of the mind. See, there are two aspects of the mind. One is the objective mind. this part of the mind where our sense organs perceive the objects, experience it, remember it, understand it. By restraining the mind, the thinking part of the mind is not destroyed. This aspect of the mind is not destroyed and continues to function. In fact, it helps in our life with more focused approach. The second aspect of the mind is the subjective mind, which broods over the objects, the perceived objects, creates emotions like likes, raga, dislikes, dvesha, minus ahambhava, and so on. This is the part of the mind that binds us, that causes sorrow. Let's say you are the boss or the manager in the office. Everybody, what they do, they come to you with problems. So you obviously ask, are you a part of the problem? Are you a part of the solution? So this subjective mind is a problem, is the problematic mind because it is the ignorant mind. This ignorant mind is the projecting mind. So through vichara, inquiry, we overcome, and we will discuss that when we come to shloka number 21. That is the vichara marga. We will inquire further. Actually, our Puja Guruji, in his text called Manashodhanam, Vicharam na sahate. This mana, this part of mind, does not stand the test of time, test of inquiry. So because of this ignorant subjective mind, because it is ignorant of our true nature, we search for happiness outside, joy outside, in the objects. That creates problems. That creates sorrow. So the restraint of the mind through the pranas is temporary, like the bird caught in the net. And once the restraining is over, the ignorant mind again starts to wander into the field of objects again. I hope you got that. So when the mind is destroyed, mano nasha, through chintanam, controlling the mind through the mind, that is hrutstale mana, swastata kriya, hrutstale manaha. So the destruction of the mind really means here the removal of ignorance of one's own true nature. The destruction of the perceiving part of the mind. The destruction of the problematic aspect of the mind. So that we never again are deluded on the nature of this world. When we study a text called Yoga Vasishtha, Agastya Muni teaches Bhagavan Ramachandra. It is called Saptagnana Bhumika. 7 stages of spiritual unfoldment. In that, the third step after Vicharana is called Tanu Manasa. This is the attenuation of the mind, thinning of the mind, attained due to strong dispassion, vairagya, from the earlier stages of vicharana and shubhecha. At this stage, the mind no more throws up any tantrum, does not bother the seeker on this spiritual path. See, like you observe a cloud in a beautiful autumn sky, like in the month of August, the cloud that is clear, you can see through that. Next time you're landing in an aeroplane and you have a window seat, you see that the clouds are thick around 25-30,000 feet altitude as you come down for a soft landing. You see the clouds as you descend and you observe how it becomes clear like that. So this type of mano-nasha is permanent, so we do not get attached to anything. So let's move to verse number 14. Pranabandhana lina manasam, Pranabandhana lina manasam, Ekachintanat nashametyadaha, Ekachintanat nashametyadaha. So by pranayama, prana vikshana, we get lina manasam. The mind becomes relatively quiet. All activities are stopped temporarily. With that quiet mind, what do? We should do eka chintanam. You contemplate on that one reality. Then the ignorance is destroyed. Here, the one truth, Ekachintanam, does not mean one of the innumerable objects of the world. Here, the contemplation on one means the one which does not become two. Ekameva advitiyam. The one without the second. The one and one only. That Atma Vishaya. Got it? So when we study a text called Druk Drushya Viveka, I will explain this type of thinking more in that text. Just to give you a sample, it says in the first shloka, Rupam Drushyam Lochanam Druk, Rupam Drushyam Lochanam Druk, Tadrushyam Draktumanasam, Drusyadhi Vrittaya Sakshi, Druge Vanatu Drushyate. See, when we see outside, how many colors are there? Different possibilities and combinations. Actually, there is an infinite possibility. To see different possibilities, we don't need different set of eyes. That is drashta. With two eyes, we might have different glasses as we age, one for reading, one for seeing, some bifocal, etc. But one set of eyes sees all the possibilities. Similarly, our tongue is a unique organ. It tastes different rasa. You put different combinations of taste and it tastes. So the theme is Drushya is Aneka, Drashta is Eka. So we shouldn't stop this logic with our eyes. Now we go one step back. Go back one more. The mind is the seer and the eyes become the seen. Without the mind behind it, eyes cannot see. It is just an aperture. Without the mind, although we see the object, we do not have the knowledge of the object. So who is the seer and who is the seen? In this case, the mind is the seer and the eyes are the seen. Now let's go one step back. Who gave the power for that inert mind to see? Pay attention and think that thought. That Sakshi principle, that witness principle, Sakshi Druk Eva Natu Drushyate. That Sakshi principle within us that provides that sentiency for those thoughts, that is the seer of the thoughts but never is seen. That one without the second. So when we turn our mind here in this exercise to the drashta, the problematic mind goes away. Okay? Now let's see shloka number 15 today. We have some more time, so let's cover one more. Nashtamanaso utkrushta yoginaha. Nashtamanaso utkrushta yoginaha. Krutyamasti kim swastitam yataha. Krutyamasti kim swastitam yataha. Swastitam yataha nastamanasaha utkrushta yoginaha krityam asti kim. See, with that kind of regular abhyasa, practice of contemplation, Bhagavan Ramana Maharshi says, one gains that abidance in that self. That kind of yogi, Bhagavan Ramana Maharshi is calling him Utkrushta, exalted yogi. See, some people who do pranayama is also called a yogi. Some people have siddhis, like flying in air or becoming small, lighter. Some do some tricks. producing things out of thin air and things like that. Although these are also considered yogis, but in Adhyatma Shastra, they are not considered Utkrushta yogi. The one who is Nashta Manasa, the one whose mind is destroyed. We are not talking about the one who has lost his mind, no, but the one who has discovered his Ananda Swarupa Atma. That one is the Utkrushta yogi. For such a person, what sort of work needs to be done is remaining? Does he have any duties to perform? We have seen this type of definition in other texts that we studied. Usually when such a question is asked, the simple answer to that is no. Because he is swastitam yataha. When you look at the 10th shloka, he gave a sort of definition, Rutstale manaha swastata kriyaha. So the goal of human life is abiding in this self. Even in Srimad Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavan Krishna says, Tasya karyam na vidyate. Usually when we do karma, we do it because we need to achieve something or we need to obtain something. Say, I want to learn Vedanta. First I need to come to the class. I want the darshan of the Lord. I need to sit down and do upasana. So long as we want to achieve results, we need to do karma. Once you have reached that state of fulfillment, there is no kartavya anymore for this person. We say he is kruta krutya. So far, for such a yogi, there is no compulsion to act. He might do work for loka sangraha, for the welfare of the community in general. See, when we do karma, we have to fulfill a particular desire. We do that for that. But for this yogi, there is nothing to be gained. This person has realized that he is of the nature of absolute happiness. So whenever he chooses to act, it's not born out of any particular desire, something that drives us to perform. There is no iota of selfishness in him, because he has understood that the self in him is the self everywhere, self in all. Okay? We have covered 15 shlokas. We will stop here for this week. There is enough material to chew on. Om Sarve Bhavantu Sukhinah, Sarve Santu Niramayah, Sarve Bhadrani Pashyantu, Ma Kaschid Dukkha Bhag Bhavet. Om Asato Ma Sadgamaya, Tamasoma Jyotirgamaya, Mrityorma Amritam Gamaya. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om. all see auspiciousness, and may none suffer. Om peace, peace, peace. Thank you everyone. I will open it up for